It starts quietly, a sense of something missing, a feeling that no matter how much love you give, how much you serve, how much you try to prove yourself, something still aches inside. You search for belonging, for approval, for affection, sometimes from people who don't even know how to love themselves. But what if the reason you're not receiving what you crave is because you're not giving it to yourself? What if the one relationship you've abandoned the most is the one you have with your own soul? If you feel this, I invite you to leave a warm note in the comments. What's one way you've begun to show yourself more love lately? Your words may open someone else's heart today. Welcome. There is a deeper reason you've been feeling called to turn inward. It's not a weakness. It's not selfishness. It's the initiation of self-realization. You've spent so long shaping yourself around other people's expectations, quieting your needs, lowering your standards, shrinking to be accepted, that somewhere along the way you forgot your sacredness. You forgot that your body is not just skin and bone. It is a living temple, a vessel of life, an altar of divinity. And when you stop honoring it, when you speak to it with shame, when you treat it like a battleground rather than a sanctuary, your energy fragments, your clarity dims, your power leaks. No one told you how important it is to love yourself first. Not after you lose weight, not once you heal all your trauma, not when others finally validate you. But now is the moment. Right here, in your current shape, with your current scars. You are not a project to be fixed. You are a being to be remembered. The journey back to yourself doesn't start with doing. It starts with seeing. Seeing yourself clearly. Seeing how long you've carried the burdens of unworthiness. Seeing the moments you betrayed your needs for connection. Seeing how deeply your inner child still waits for your love. And here's the truth they don't teach you. Until you become the one who loves yourself most and first, every other relationship will mirror the absence of that love. You will keep attracting situations that reflect your self-abandonment. You will give endlessly and receive conditionally. You'll confuse attention for affection and settle for being chosen instead of being honored. But when you finally choose yourself, not as a performance, but as a commitment, everything begins to shift. You stop asking for permission to exist. You stop begging to be seen. You stop waiting to be saved. Self-love isn't bubble baths and mantras alone. It's boundaries. It's accountability. It's being fiercely honest with yourself about what drains you, what uplifts you, and what no longer aligns. It's learning to listen to the subtle wisdom of your body when it says no, and having the courage to honor that no. It's recognizing that your energy is sacred, your time is sacred, your presence is sacred. And anyone who treats you otherwise does not belong in the inner temple of your life. Your body too has a voice. It speaks in sensations, in tightness, in warmth, in fatigue. It remembers every time you pushed it too far, ignored its signals, sacrificed its needs for approval. But it also holds the memory of wholeness. It wants to come back into harmony with you. When you slow down and tune in, when you place your hand on your heart and breathe deeply, when you nourish it with real food, real rest, real attention, your body softens. It stops bracing for impact. It begins to trust you again. And when your body feels safe, your soul can expand. That's where true power begins, not in control, but in connection. When you love yourself most and first, you stop trying to earn your worth. You stop performing for affection. You start living from a place of deep alignment. You make choices that honor your wholeness, not your wounds. And the world begins to respond differently, not because it changed, but because you did. As your perception begins to shift, you realize how much of your energy was entangled in seeking external validation. You begin to see that the praise, the likes, the attention, none of it ever lasted. It was sugar for a starving soul, but when you begin to pour attention inward, when you feed yourself the acknowledgement you crave, something miraculous begins to happen. The hunger quiets, the anxiety softens, the self-sabotage starts to dissolve, not because life got easier, but because you stopped abandoning yourself. When you claim yourself, your desires, your body, your voice, you break a lineage of internalized shame. For generations, we were taught that self-sacrifice was noble, that humility meant invisibility, that love was something to earn by diminishing ourselves. But now, you are here to write a new story, one where loving yourself is the first act of devotion, one where your body becomes your compass, not your enemy, one where you look in the mirror and no longer flinch at the truth of who you are. And the truth is this: you are whole. Not perfect, but whole. Wholeness means accepting all of you, the brilliant and the broken, the radiant and the raw. It means holding yourself through your darkest nights and celebrating yourself without needing a reason. It means becoming the kind of love you always hoped someone would give you. Because when that love lives inside you, no one can take it away. You may lose people. You may disappoint those who benefited from your self-neglect. But you will gain something far more precious: peace. Peace that comes from no longer chasing. Peace that emerges from knowing you are enough, exactly as you are. And in that peace, your nervous system begins to regulate. Your thoughts slow down. Your decisions become clearer. You begin to act from alignment, not fear. You begin to attract relationships that meet you at the level of your self-respect. This is not an overnight transformation. It is a daily choice. To return to yourself, to breathe into your heart before you speak, to question whether your actions come from love or lack. It's a practice of devotion, not to an image, not to a standard, but to your truth. And each time you choose yourself, something invisible within you strengthens. The child in you begins to trust that she won't be abandoned again. The soul in you starts to unfold her wings. Your body too will shift. As you honor it, it will respond. The tightness in your chest may loosen, the inflammation may ease, the fatigue may lift. Because what most people forget is that the body is not separate from the soul. It is its expression. When the soul is neglected, the body aches. When the soul is loved, the body heals. So every time you nourish yourself, rest without guilt, speak your truth, or honor your no, you are sending a signal of safety to every cell in your being. You are saying, I matter, I belong, I choose myself. And from that place, you don't have to force anything. Life begins to flow again. Opportunities find you. People respect you. You begin to radiate a quiet power that doesn't need to be explained or defended. That power is the result of alignment. When your thoughts, your body, and your actions all say the same thing: I am worthy of love, and I will no longer abandon myself to prove it. This kind of love is not loud. It doesn't need to scream or shout to be known. It is felt in the stillness of your presence, in the way you breathe without apology, in how you walk into a room without shrinking. It's seen in how you speak to yourself in silence, in how you respond to mistakes, not with shame, but with understanding. Self-love is not a trend, not a hashtag. It's the quiet revolution that changes everything. When you begin to understand that your body is your temple, something in you reawakens. You stop seeing it as a project to fix and begin seeing it as a sacred vessel for your purpose. You listen when it whispers. You rest when it's tired. You feed it with presence instead of punishment. And slowly, the war ends. The war with your shape, your appetite, your reflection. In its place grows a relationship based on reverence, not ego, not vanity, reverence. You don't need a perfect body to honor it. You need awareness, gratitude. You need to see that this skin, this breath, this heartbeat, it is all a miracle. You've survived things your younger self thought would break you. You've carried weight, not just physical, but emotional, that others never saw. And still you rise, still you move, still you show up. So no more punishing your body for its shape or for carrying your pain. Instead, begin thanking it for protecting you when you couldn't protect yourself, for being the bridge between your inner world and this one. The moment you treat your body as sacred, it responds in kind. You begin to crave what nourishes, not what numbs. You speak more gently, move more freely. You stop tolerating spaces that dishonor your energy. And it becomes easier because you've remembered who you are. You're no longer walking through life trying to prove your worth. You're walking in the quiet knowing of it. This doesn't mean you won't be challenged. In fact, as you rise in self-love, you will be tested. Not to punish you, but to strengthen your foundation. Old patterns will try to return. People from your past may reappear, but now you are different. You no longer make decisions from desperation. You don't explain your boundaries to be understood. You don't shrink to avoid conflict. Because love, real love, makes you strong, not small. And when you stand in that love, you start to inspire others to do the same. Not by preaching, just by being. You become a mirror that shows people what's possible when we come home to ourselves. You walk through life with a grace that isn't artificial. It's earned. Earned through every tear you dried yourself, every truth you finally spoke, every time you held yourself when no one else could. There will still be moments of doubt. That's human. But even in those moments, you will not abandon yourself. You'll place a hand on your heart and remember, this is the only home I'll ever truly have, and I will treat it with the reverence it deserves. Let others have their opinions. Let them misunderstand. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be whole. You are not here to fit in. You are here to love yourself so fiercely that nothing outside of you can diminish the light within you. And when all the noise settles, when the opinions fade, when the mirrors of others no longer define your reflection, you'll be left with yourself. Not the self you had to create to survive, not the mask you wore to be loved, but the real, radiant you. The one who's been waiting patiently for your return. The one who doesn't need fixing. Just seeing, just honoring, just loving. You begin to speak to yourself differently. You catch the old voices, those echoes of unworthiness, and you pause before you believe them. You say, no, I don't speak to myself that way anymore, and just like that, you break a cycle. Just like that, you choose love over fear, over and over. This is how change happens, not in one grand act, but in 1,000 quiet choices made in your own favor. These choices aren't always loud or dramatic, but their impact is profound. Every act of self-respect rewrites your inner code. Every act of self-trust becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. The relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. When you honor yourself, you stop settling for half-hearted connections. You stop chasing people who are not meant to stay. You stop performing for approval. You realize that the most magnetic energy is authenticity. You become someone who is full, not seeking to be completed, but ready to share overflow. And that changes everything. That attracts peace instead of chaos. That makes space for alignment instead of confusion. And slowly, your life begins to mirror the love you now embody. This is the calling, to be fiercely kind to yourself, to revere your body as sacred ground, and to love yourself first, not last. Not when you've earned it, not when you've changed, but now, as you are. Because self-love is not selfish, it's the root of everything holy, everything truly powerful. It is the foundation on which true spiritual awakening is built. Without it, no amount of external validation can sustain your inner world. So let this be your invitation to rise, to return, to remember. You don't need anyone's permission to start. You just need to decide, I will no longer abandon myself. I will no longer seek outside what must be built within. I will love myself most and first, because I finally understand that everything begins here. And by doing so, you begin the sacred journey not only of healing, but of remembering that you have always been enough. And that is the kind of love that nothing can take from you. Not rejection, not loss, not time. That kind of love is eternal.
Drop a follow and like the video if this resonates with you, and don't hesitate to cheer up and support fellow brothers and sisters' difficult times in the comments. Chosen one, keep your head up and stay true to yourself, always with love.